This is where we show you the ins and outs and everything there is to know about mobile homes. It is truly our mission to transform lives through mobile homes. So thanks for watching Franco Mobile Homes. What's up, guys? Franco here with Franco Mobile Homes, and today we are going to talk about how the buying process works and its timeline. So let's get started. Basically, first thing to do when you start looking for a mobile home or start considering a mobile home, you definitely want to talk to a mobile home expert about getting your pre-qualification process started. So after you get that pre-qual, then we have a better idea of understanding what it is our payment's going to be, what parks we should be looking at, what our monthly is going to be if we spend X amount, and really helping us build that strategy in finding you a home that will that will align with your financial goals. Okay, so once we've done that, we start searching for homes. Okay, we start looking for homes, and then we find we start scheduling showings and appointments for these homes. Once we found a home that we like, then we start writing offers on the home. So it's very important that we understand how the offer process actually works and what an offer is and what are our risks and what are our risks that are involved when we're writing offers for mobile homes, and what is each element of the mobile home process, right? So here's a quick timeline here. First thing we do is we do the mobile home purchase agreement, and that is the offer. What that offer is, it helps us really identify every little important aspect of our offer. Hey, we're going to be purchasing, let's pretend it's a cash offer. We're going to be purchasing at $250,000 cash. We do want inspections. We want to split the cost of doing the inspections. We want, what it also identifies is the timeline. We want 2 weeks to get the park application approved. And then also when do we want our EMD to be deposited? When do we plan on closing escrow? A lot of these elements are the important factors of what a seller would want to know when it comes to accepting or denying or countering an offer. So it's very important that we understand that contract and really identify what it is that our timeline is and what it is that seller's timeline is, so we can really use that information to get that competitive advantage in getting this offer accepted. Okay, so when we're writing the offer, one thing to keep in mind is, how it's very important to understand how these offers work so that we really know what money is it that we're losing. Because normally there is a 3 to 5% EMD deposit that is involved when you're submitting the offer. So you do write a check, usually to an escrow company. Let's say it's $5,000, right? So you have that check with the offer when you submit it. Now, keep in mind that offer is just proof of the EMD. EMD is earnest money deposit. So that's just proof that we have that deposit. So that way, the seller knows that, hey, we are serious, right? We're serious buyers. We have this money that's ready to go to the escrow company, and we are ready to purchase. Okay, so having that EMD is a big factor of it. Now, as a buyer, you're probably concerned, like, hey, if I write this check for $5,000 to escrow, am I going to lose this money? So the key thing to understand here is that you're going to be going through a negotiation process on right around this part. So let's say the offer is accepted, the offer is written right here. We'll go through a few days in a negotiation process. Sometimes there's a back and forth between both parties, but that EMD or that deposit, that check only gets deposited into escrow when that offer gets ratified, or which means that both parties agree. Okay, so that means once they agree, that money gets deposited. Okay, so now that offer got ratified or accepted, which is that green line right here, then we start the pending phase. So that EMD check is now deposited into the escrow, and the escrow is the third-party company that helps to make sure that both sides, it's basically the middleman between the buyer side and the seller side, and making sure that everyone's in agreement as far as the contract says. Okay, so now that we are in pending period, what ends up happening is we start doing the park application and we open escrow, in particular to that home, identifying who the buyer and seller is. And it's important that we start that park application process right away, because we want to make sure that we're good on our timeline on getting the park approval. Okay, so as soon as we go pending, we want to schedule an appointment with the park, or every park has a different process, but we either want to schedule that appointment with the park and submit everything, all their application forms and everything that they ask for when it comes to submitting that application. So we want to submit that as soon as possible so we don't run out of time later down the line. Okay, so then we usually set to have about 2 to 3 weeks to have that formal park approval and getting rid of that contingency. Okay, so now keep in mind, there is a contingency removal period, and this blue line right here is what helps us understand. People always ask me like, hey, if I submit $5,000 as my deposit and I don't get approved by the park, does that mean I lose $5,000, that whole deposit? So the answer to that question is no. You don't lose that that full deposit all the way up until you removing that contingency. If for some reason during this period, even before you get approved, there could be things that come up that have to cancel your purchase. And from during this period, you can still back out, and all you would have lost is your cancellation costs. But it gets very tricky. So you want to make sure to talk to your agent about how you back out and do you have the right to back out. But essentially, during this process, what will happen is you can cancel your contract and back out, and you can have your money back. All you would lose is a cancellation fee, which is normally about $150 to $200. But you definitely want to check with your agent what your cancellation fee is. Now, losing $150 to $200 isn't that big of a deal compared to losing $5,000 or 5% of your deposit, right? So you don't want to be past that contingency removal period with your deposit released and get into trouble and not be able to have your deposit refundable. So it's very important that you understand how this process works, so that one, you know how to take the right moves and steps, and maybe taking a chance at this home, knowing that during this first 2-3 weeks, you still have a chance to you still have the ability to back out if your agent represents you correctly. And then all you really lost is about $150. But also it's very important that your agent understands what the contingency removals are and what contingencies you want to have in place, and what that specific date is, so that you don't pass that and your offer's non-refundable. I mean, your EMD is not refundable, okay? So here's kind of an idea of how that closing process works with a timeline. Hopefully this was useful to you guys. We have more content around this. But anyways, thanks for watching and take care. Bye.